It is time to expand from our little island and begin building my idea of the perfect village. We have a lot of absolutely beautiful landscape to work with here, and I have some really awesome ideas I can't wait to get started on. So, let's get started on them. Alright, and here we are back in our beautiful freaking little starting island slash village thing. And well, the first thing we need to do is figure out where we want to start our new little village that we're going to be, you know, building. And so I already am liking the look of this little location this way over here. Yeah, this is looking really cool. I do like the change of elevation that we've got going up here, and we've got like a nice flat area. Also, this at the front here could be a really nice kind of docking point. So I think, honestly, yeah, I mean, it looks pretty freaking good. We're also gonna have to chop down a lot of trees, which, I mean, we're gonna have to do anyway. But yeah, dude, this is looking really... There's a freaking armadillo? What the hell? That is something you do not see every day. G'day, mate. What are you doing in there? Oh, that's gonna be annoying though. We're gonna have to clear all of these freaking leaves and shit. Oh, dude. Another thing I really want to do, I've brought some wheat and some fences and stuff. I want to get started on an animal farm because I am sick of eating bread, okay? It just kind of sucks. So that might be the first thing we build. I don't know. We'll see how we go. I've also got a bunch of slabs on me. I really wish you could, you know, it would be cool with these if you could like hover over it and then you use the scroll wheel. Wait. You have got to be kidding me. You actually can do that. You can scroll to choose the item you... I don't know why I didn't try that before I was trying to like suggest Mojang to add that in, but you actually can. That is so good. No way, dude. Oh my god, I can't believe that. So yeah, like I was, well, I don't know if I actually started saying or not, but I've got a couple of slabs here, so we can actually start a little bit of a starter, you know, what I'm trying to say, dock here, like an arrival dock. Now, it's gonna look really nice as having this very closely kind of match the bank here. Oh, okay, and I'm already out of slabs. That's pretty good. Okay, what I think I'm gonna do now is just get started chopping down all of these trees and clear out a really big kind of area to get started on our village. So let's get started on a freaking quick time lapse right now. Okay, now while I'm just waiting for all of those leaves to clear away, the hell, I just realized the vanilla clouds are like, what the, okay. I gotta figure out how to turn that off. You bloody beauty. Okay, yeah, like I was saying, while I'm waiting for these leaves to decay away, I'm just gonna continue building our little arrival dock here for this village. I do want this to span across quite a big area, and then over on this side, I might even have this extend out a little bit past this way, like so. And I might actually smoothen this out quite a bit because it does look a little bit weird, especially like kind of in this area. Smoothen that, and then I kind of want this corner to be a lot smoother as well. There we go. That's looking much better. Now from here, I will add a couple of different kind of ways to get off of the thing, you know, like that. And then I do want to have a bunch of like sprawling out kind of connections for, you know, people to arrive at with boats and stuff. So I'm just going to add a bunch of these around the place. So give me a second. Okay, and that is looking pretty good for now. Obviously, we're going to be adding a lot of detail and stuff to this later on. But now with most of our leaves decayed, I do want to actually get started with a little bit of planning, okay? To get a really awesome and like realistic styled village, I definitely think you're gonna have to do some planning, which I never really do. I just kind of start building houses and go from there. And so, you know, to get that perfect freaking dream village I'm looking for, I think the key to that is gonna be some freaking planning, okay? So first and foremost, we have this nice kind of like circular pinnacle area where I think like maybe like a bit of a roundabout would look cool in terms of a pathway, and we can have some little houses kind of positioned alongside this, and maybe they could even have their own little docks kind of sprawling out as well. I think that would be pretty freaking cool. So because we don't have a lot of space here, I think having those houses on kind of the smaller side will be preferable. So I reckon the first one we're gonna get maybe right here, and this is just gonna be a 3x3 house. Then we'll get the next one maybe over here, and this one I reckon can maybe be like a double long house, so we'll get it partially hanging over the water, which I think will look really cool too. There we go, so something like that. And maybe instead of a roundabout, it could actually go kind of down that way a little bit, and we could have another, we can maybe have a diagonal house here. Oh, actually, I really like that you can just place dirt and that just deletes that that leaves underneath. That's actually so good. So I'm telling you, these leaves, as cool as they are, they're gonna start pissing me off very soon. All right, so I reckon a nice diagonal house here would actually fit freaking beautifully. So we'll just get a little boy like that. Okay, and honestly, that is looking pretty freaking sweet for that little area there. We can also have this path kind of snake up around this way, or maybe even actually remove it. Yeah, I think removing it's going to be the play there. That way we only have 2 entrances to worry about, and we can have that kind of come up around this way. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. All right, well, I think what I'm going to do now, maybe set up a little bit. Actually, you know, usually I just kind of place chests and crafting tables like in a spot and just use that for building the village, but I think it could be cool to actually incorporate that as part of the village. So we can make maybe like a bit of a workshop in this area here. I think that's gonna be pretty cool. So I don't really have any freaking stone. I want some stone brick walls for this. So for now, just so I can quickly place down some chests, we'll just get those whacked down. And now I'm just going to quickly head back to base and grab a bunch of building resources, and I'll meet you guys back here. Okay, well, it turns out I actually have way less resources than I thought. So we might have to do a little bit of a mining expedition to get some more freaking deep slate and stone. But we do have enough to actually make this little workshop. So we may as well get this, you know, situated here. I think this is just going to be the perfect little spot and the perfect size like that. There we go, you beauty. And now this little, like, you know, area that I'd usually have just kind of in the corner of my villages actually kind of serves a function, I guess, and looks a bit more kind of realistic to the village, you know what I'm saying? All right, so now what I'm gonna go do is grab a bunch of cobblestone and a bunch more freaking deep slate as well. So I'm gonna go do all of that, probably off camera, because, you know, it's the most boring thing you could probably watch. But if something interesting happens, you know, you guys will be the first one to bloody hear of it, okay? So if I can get in there we go. I'll meet you guys, you know, down here or back up there, you know. All right, I am back. I've got a bunch more resources to build some more houses, and I've got some stone smelting away as well. And so I think it's just time to get, you know, straight into freaking building these houses, okay? Now, I am definitely wanting a, you know, probably the exact same style as the houses over there for a little bit of, you know, consistency. Although I'm just not sure if I want to use stone or wood for the walls and stuff of the houses. It's definitely a bit of a hard decision to make. I'm thinking stone just because it's going to be some nice contrast against the already wood that we have here. So we'll probably go with textured stone and stone bricks, you know, they're classic. And I think we will also use oak fences for the windows instead of glass panes, just for a bit more of a medieval feel. You know what? I think I will actually make these smaller houses a bit larger, just because I want to, you know, I want to try some new things, okay? I'm sick of building the same houses over and over again, so we're trying something a little bit different. So let's change up the planning. I'm thinking instead of a 3 gap here, we go with 5, and that gives us, you know, all of this room here to play with. And maybe let's try something without these sticky outy bits, okay? I know it's like my signature style at this point, but oh, actually what we can do, we can leave them on the front and back, and we can add a second story that kind of sticks out a little bit, and that can be kind of what supports that second story, you know what I'm saying? I think that is going to be the winner, ladies and bloody gentlemen, okay? So instead of just 1 story, we go up again. Yes, I think this is going to work out perfectly. Although I am kind of hoping that this isn't going to be too big of a house for this area, but honestly, I think we should be okay. Okay, that is looking pretty good. And honestly, I was going to mimic the same block palette over there, but I think what we might do is do stone and then wood at the top. I think that is going to look just a little bit more like kind of medieval themed. So let's get started with those walls. Obviously, I do want the front door to be right freaking here. So there we have it. Chuck him in right there. Bang. Perfect. Yes, this is going to look freaking sweet. Oh my God, dude. What the hell is going on? These guys are so annoying. I wish they would just remove them from the game already, okay? I just want to build in peace, man. Now I can't go over to my freaking storage and crafting because they're probably going to attack me, the bastards. All right, then over here, I do want to kind of flatten that off. So we'll chuck some sand in there, and I'm going to need some more sand for here. God damn it. And then, yeah, we'll add some windows here. So we'll leave some little... Oh, that's not the right block. We'll leave some little separations here. And then we'll chuck in our stairs on the bottom and tops. And then, of course, for those windows, some oak fences. Bang. Bloody beauty. Nice and simple, but, you know, it works well, okay? I think on the back side, we will definitely get another window. And then this side, we might just make into a bit of a flat kind of wall. Yes, okay. I'm going to have to get rid of these guys. I want to go over there and craft some crap, dude. All right, it's time to go. Come on, dickheads. You don't even have your crossbows loaded. Look at ya. Oh yeah, these guys are easy as. See you later, dickhead. Get them while they're freaking reloading. You suck. Bang, dude. I don't even want this crap. Just get it out of my inventory. All right, that was probably the easiest skirmish I could have imagined having. You beauty. All right, second floor time. Up we go. And I pretty much just want to mimic the exact same... Oh, actually, no, it's different because we have a bit of a wider area. Ooh, okay. This is going to be a little bit tougher. So what we might do instead is have a 2-block kind of 2 blocks between each window. Oh wait, that means we can add a window here. Okay, so we'll have 3 windows in total. Okay, that works out perfectly actually. So get something like that going, get some fences in there. Yeah, that is freaking perfect. Awesome. All right, I'm just gonna repeat that on you know, all of the walls around here, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, that is the second floor done, looking beautiful. It's now time to head up and excuse me, get started on the freaking roof up here, okay? I want to get something very similar to what we've already done. So we will utilize my signature roof design, okay? So we're going to start off with some slabs and then transition into some stairs halfway up. And then we'll finish it up with a slab on the top like so. Freaking perfect, okay? And then we're going to bridge this over to the other side and repeat the exact same thing real quick. I will get this same trim going along the top as well on a nice strip. It just looks like, it's just nice contrast, you know, it just fits perfectly, okay? Now, before we get the roof completed, we will, of course, make sure to add in these to cover up that little gap there. And now simply, we will just fill out the rest of the roof with some deep slate tiles and bricks. The perfect combination. Okay, and there we have it. That is the main stuff for the house done. Of course, we are missing a lot of the details, and it is a bit flat on this side, so we do kind of need to figure out something for this. It is very, very flat. That's a bit worrying. I don't know how we're gonna fix that. Oh god. All right, I'm gonna have a snooze and I'm gonna kind of have a think about what we can do with this big freaking flat ass wall here. Okay, now I know I said I wasn't gonna add the sticky outy bits here, but I really think that they are needed. They're definitely just gonna help, you know, get that depth back in, okay? Now, as for the second floor depth, we might try adding, God, I might try adding these in as well. The only annoying thing is, of course, they're not in line, so I don't know how this is gonna freaking work out, dude. All right, for this bottom floor, I reckon we could get something like this going. Just a little bit of support kind of looking detail. I think that looks really nice. God, just place it on. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. We do need to figure out maybe something to connect these up again. You know, the perfect detail. Imagine these fences, but horizontally going across. Bro, that would be the perfect thing, but of course, it's just not possible. So I'm thinking maybe just like a little bit of this, but maybe if we thickened up these trapdoors. Let's take a look from afar and just have a little squiz. Yeah, that actually works pretty well. I think we have a freaking winner, okay? And then for the second floor, we can kind of get those same details, but we'll just do slabs like that, kind of alternating. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then, of course, we'll get those same details under the pillars here too with those fences. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting looking house, honestly. I've never really built anything like that. It's definitely different. It's still in my style, but a lot different from what I'd usually do, if that makes any sense whatsoever. All right, I'm gonna finish up all of the details for this. We'll have a quick look at how it looks in general, and then we'll go from there. So give me a second. All right, and there we have it. There's the completed house, and I did just get an idea for something pretty interesting looking. Oh my God, what is going on with these trapdoors, dude? Holy crap, they're huge, brother. I reckon what we could do to make this look even more interesting is add a bit of a staircase along the side here. Actually, let's maybe even just make that 1 block wide. Oh, and that's gonna freaking get in the way. That's a pain in the butt. Okay, maybe let's just do that. And we can have this lead up to, you know, the second floor. Instead of having it be one big house with 2 floors, it can be 2 separate houses. You know what I'm saying? I reckon that could definitely look cool from the outside as well. Let's get that going up to there. Might change that to a stair. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I do like that. Again, very different from what I'd usually do, but that's what we're all about here today, okay? I want to do different stuff. Like a door in here. Bloody beauty. There it is. First house done. Reckon we chuck a lantern on right there too. Hell yeah, dude. Now, I feel like a smaller house at the front here would have looked better, but I do like that house still, of course. This diagonal house I may end up keeping 1 story, but this one we could probably make a 2 story as well. So yeah, I might get to a bit of a time lapse now and just finish off the rest of these 2 houses here, and then we'll figure out the rest of the village. So let's get to it. All right, so I began building up the second house until realizing it was way too close, so I ended up moving it all back 2 blocks. I then began building up the walls along with making the back first floor walls wood just because I thought it'd be really cool. After sprinkling in all the details, I moved straight up to the roof, which was to be the same as the first one we'd made on the nearby house. I then began building the diagonal house, which ended up pretty poo-poo. Okay, and here is our village so far, coming along pretty well. I mean, it's only 3 freaking houses so far, but dude, these designs are looking pretty cool. The diagonal house definitely could look better. It's a little bit sad at the moment, and I don't really know what to do to fix it. We could probably maybe chuck a couple fences in there. I don't know how much that's gonna do, you know, for it in terms of how good or bad it looks, but that's fine. I think I'll probably just not build any more diagonal houses because, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that bad boy right there, okay? And so I think with those houses done, it is time to get a little bit more planning done. You know, the most exciting part, getting planning, brother. Holy crap. And so my idea is the pathway is gonna snake around this way and then have it kind of go up around this way, and I want it to go up over here as well and start, you know, actually building along these hills. I'm also thinking that maybe 2 houses right here just behind this like little hill bit will definitely work out really nicely as well. So I might actually just get those added in right here, right freaking now. So go with some 5 block wide bad boys like this. And, ooh, okay. This is actually gonna take up a bit more space than I thought. Okay, that should work. We should be able to just snake a little pathway through there. That way we can have 2 houses side by side right here. So I think this is gonna be a pretty nice spot for it. And I'm also... Man, I'm gonna have to chop down a bunch more trees. It's such a pain in the ass chopping freaking oak trees, man, I'm telling ya. Now, the reason I haven't started the path as well is because I'm kind of just trying to save all my stone and stone bricks for the houses. Although I do have a lot of slabs that I don't really need, but yeah, no, I think we'll do the path at the end. So the path will come up around alongside these houses, up around this way, and I'm thinking we'll get some more houses along this kind of area here. Dude, I'm telling you, these armadillos sound weird as hell. Literally sounds like a villager. So the path will come along here, and then it would be nice to have another diagonal house there. I don't know. I just don't know how good that's going to turn out, honestly. Yeah, I think that layout is turning out pretty nice. I like that those houses are very nice and close together, like these ones and all these ones too. We'll probably get another house maybe just right beside this one through like right here, and I'm out of wood. So I'm going to go chop down a bunch more trees, and I'll actually just get started on the time lapse of building all of these houses. So let's get to it. Okay, so I firstly began construction of the 2 houses that were side by side, with the second one having a second floor extension for something interesting. After finishing up all the walls and details for this house, I moved straight on to the next one to essentially repeat the entire process. Now for the final 2 houses of the time lapse, I began building them up, adding the walls and roofs, and I actually really liked how these ones were partially hanging over the water too. Okay, so there is a bunch of houses done for our village. Here's a look from afar. And yeah, so I'd like to call that kind of like the housing district, I guess. And now we're gonna start some more specialized buildings, with my first idea to be on this like little kind of hillside thing. Well, first we're gonna have to freaking flatten this bad boy off a bit. I might kind of extend this land out like to here and have this come out, you know, like this. All right, now let's figure out the position of our logs here, or the pillars, I should say. So I'm thinking a 3 wide building is going to be perfect for this, and I do want it to be quite long actually, so I might even actually get it all the way down here. Yes, that's freaking perfect, man. That bitch fits on there beautifully. Okay, and with that done, let's fix up the rest of the terrain here because it's a little bit whack-a-diddly. Kind of get this going around to there, maybe extend that up a little, you know, just try and make it feel a bit more natural. I think this side would be cool if it's like an alleyway that leads back around to this pathway that's going to go up here. And this alley can kind of connect up around to the pathway over to here too. Yeah, that's gonna be perfect, dude. So that's the kind of shit that I want in my villages, like these interesting like height variations, and then the interesting little pathways we can snake between them and stuff. I don't know, I think that's really cool, brother. All right, as for our pillars here, of course, we're gonna raise these up, and my idea is for this middle section here to go up another story. So we're gonna have our 2 sides at the, you know, 1 story tall, and then the middle's gonna kind of point up and be higher. Yeah, that's probably the highest quality explanation you're gonna get from me today. It's just not working. All right, so there is our first floor pillars. Now we're just gonna extend up at this second floor thingamajig I was talking about earlier. And I'm out of logs. That's actually, God's sake, dude, I'm sick of chopping trees. I will be back. All right, so as for how we're gonna do these roofs, I think these 2 side ones we're gonna have facing out the, you know, the ends of the house, or the building, I should say. It's not a house, okay? You're gonna see what it's for in a minute. Well, there is an item floating around in my inventory that does kind of give it away. I'm just kind of hoping that no one has noticed it yet. So there's roof 1. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the other side, and then just for, you know, just to make the roofs a bit more interesting, the roof on top will face, you know, that way and that way instead. So let me get this crap built, and then we'll actually get started on the interior. Okay, so here is the completed building. You may be able to tell what my idea is. Now, it's a little bit of an archery range, okay? So I guess the idea is that at the back here, we would have like a bit of a target that they'd theoretically be shooting at. And then we'll have like a sort of table here that they kind of fire, you know, they take aim at. Now, you may be wondering why these sides are open. Maybe it's like a little bit of a safety hazard, and well, that's because it is, okay? But we will make it a little bit safer by adding in some fences and fence gates along here, just to kind of make it look more like you're not supposed to go there. I just need to craft some more. Give me a second. All right, that's looking pretty good. Sweet, dude. That looks awesome. Little archery range. Now, I do have a couple of barrels and chests that we will sprinkle around here as well. Just, you know, theoretical storage where they'd put in their archery stuff, you know what I'm saying. Bit of a lantern, and there we have it. Actually, oh, I forgot some of the details. God damn it. After this, I'm going to do the biggest chopping of trees I've ever done in my life, okay? I am so sick of running out of wood. I just want to be able to build the rest of this village without having to go chop down more trees, you know? That would be absolutely perfect. Oh my fucking God, I'm actually gonna lose it. Like, I've run out of fences. I just can't believe it. Okay, and there we have it. The archery range is all done and looking freaking awesome, dude. Such a cool build. Well, actually, I think a little bit of an arch here would look quite nice. Yes, okay, all done. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just, dude, I'm gonna spend, I don't know how much time. I'm definitely gonna have to make a new axe as well. I'm gonna chop down so many trees, you're not gonna believe it. And then we'll get started creating some builds on this top kind of plane that I'm on up here. Maybe some more job site buildings. You know, I've got a couple in mind that'll be really cool to get done. So I'm gonna go get all that stuff done, and I'll meet you guys probably back up here. Okay, so after chopping down an ungodly amount of trees, it was finally time to get back into building with these 3 new builds that were to be workstations of sorts. I did play around with sizing and positioning quite a bit just to get everything right, and then I began working on raising all of the pillars up. After getting the first 2 builds, roofs, walls, and details fully completed, I worked on the 3rd building, which was quite larger than the others, getting a big stinking roof added and the walls, half of which were open like the others. Okay, so there is our 3 new buildings created. It is now time to decorate the absolute hell out of them, with this first building being the butchery, or the butcher, I don't know. These guys are asking to get butchered if they don't frickin' get out. Come on, brother. All right, so the first thing I want to do is incorporate a little bit of a meat hook kind of situation here. So I want 2, like, yeah, this is gonna be kind of gross, but I want 2, like, drainage systems in the ground here, okay? So we're ripping up the bloody floor. I wanna get some stairs like this, and I've realized, it's not really gonna work, but what we might be able to actually do instead, continue these stairs around, get a bit of a slab in the middle. I need to make more frickin' stairs. There we go. Now we chuck some trap doors there. And then above this, we're going to have some freaking hooks or some chains dangling down. Not exactly some hooks. Yeah, that's going to look cool. Then I also do have a couple pieces of redstone to act as like some blood. Yeah, I don't know. This is just where the pigs get strung up and bled to death. Yeah, it's kind of pretty sad. It's just how it is, you know? Up here, maybe we could have a little bit of storage going. Now, at this point, I have completely run out of wood once again. I chopped down... Dude, you should have seen it. I literally had like a whole, like almost like a half row of freaking logs, man. And it's all gone already. I just can't believe it. We'll get a little bit of a shelf like that just for some decoration. And then I reckon some barrels kind of scattered around this area will look really cool too. We might as well even just use up the rest of these chains and get a 3rd little dangler going right there. Freaking perfect, mate. There's our butchery building done. Actually, I do have 1 piece of iron left in here, and that's just gonna bring this butchery to the next level once you see what I'm gonna do with it. Yes, get one of these bad boys. We'll just chuck it like, I don't even know, right there. Yeah, dude, that's how they cut them up, you know? Freaking perfect. Okay, now let's move over to the blacksmith. So out here, I did manage to make 1 anvil. I literally have no iron left to my freaking name. That bad boy is gonna be placed right there. Then I've also got some birch trapdoors as like kind of those quenching buckets of sorts. So I reckon we should probably get one here. Bang, there's our quenching bucket. Okay, now when it comes to this area, I think a big old workstation will look really cool here. Again, we'll get some storage up here as well. Something a bit like that. Maybe even get like a fence kind of holding this up on each side. That would be pretty freaking cool looking. Yes. And then I think just like a final like quenching bucket out here would look cool. Bang. Now I don't really have a lot of details to be kind of sprinkling around here. So, yeah, let's move straight on to the animal farm over here, the final building. Again, we'll scatter some freaking storage stuff around here. Down below, let's maybe get a couple of chests and scattered barrels. Chuck a lantern on, you bloody beauty. And then, of course, I do want to lure over some cows and stuff to get in here. So give me a second. I'm going to get all of that done rightio now. Okay, there is our cows added in. Let's start breeding those. I'll chuck our wheat in here too. Yes. Our first baby cow, absolute bloody beauty. Okay, and so there is our our 4 specialty buildings done, coming along really nice. Let's take a look at the village from afar. Hell yeah, dude, this is looking so good so far. Obviously, I do want to keep expanding this in the future, but I think what we'll get done now is get some final details added. Of course, we need to get all of the pathways added in throughout, sprinkle in a bunch more details, and I do want to add some more details to our arrival dock as well. So I'm going to get all of that stuff done as a very quick time lapse starting right now. First and foremost, that pathway was probably the most important part, so I began snaking it around the entirety of the village, spanning all the way up to our most recent job site buildings. I then felt a splash of color would be beneficial for the village, so I began adding in plenty of crop farms in all the gaps I could find. And for the final details, of course, barrels, chests, and lanterns. Alright, and there it is. There is our village so far, coming along frickin' perfectly. Again, it's not done. I do want to keep expanding this bad boy in future episodes, but for now, I think that is pretty frickin' good. And so if you want to download this village and explore it for yourself, be sure to check out my Patreon, as the download will be up over there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.